portion, we are going to look at the hand techniques for the orange belt syllabus. The first technique we're going to talk about is a forearm strike to the chest. Now, once again, we have 3 different ranges that we need to be thinking about. So in our yellow belt syllabus, we talked about our jab and cross, which would be our long range striking, our long range weapons. We talked about elbow strikes, where we are close. This time we're going to talk about mid-range, which is going to be our forearm strikes. Now, one of the things I want you to think about when you're delivering your forearm strikes is to keep the elbows close to the body. So if I deliver a forearm strike away from the body this way, where my elbow is away from the body, this portion is going to be weak. This is just going to basically be springing off the person. What I want you to think about is keeping the hands in, so we are in our defensive stance. Our elbows are tucked into the side of our rib cage, right? We're in kind of a compliant or a submissive kind of position from this position here. And I want you to think that your forearm strikes are going to come on a 45-degree angle across the body this way. If you're practicing in a gi, well, where the seams of your jacket are. So again, keeping my hands up, the power is going to be generated from the hip and the shoulder and elbow this way. So not extending, but I'm in close and driving through this way here. Now, a little added spice as part of this technique is going to be a little bit of a elbow down here at the solar plexus. So again, not just kind of thinking here, but close and driving through this way. Same thing with the front hand from this position, from this position. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Now we could also use those forearm strikes if we were blocking a punch and then coming through and striking on that arm, or if I'm blocking a strike to the outside and I'm coming through and delivering that forearm strike to break the arm or break the elbow. So once again, making sure that the elbows are fused to the side of the body, hip, shoulder, arm, and a little bit of a pop of the elbow into the solar plexus. So our forearm strikes to the chest. Forearm strikes to the brachial plexus. The brachial plexus is located right below the ear along the side of the neck. And that is another one of our pressure point striking areas. We're going to strike with the outside of the forearm. And there is one on this side and one on the opposite side. Now, we're going to be in our defensive stance as we were before. Now, once again, this could be maybe somebody is grabbing and we're striking, or blocking and striking to the side of the neck, to the brachial plexus. And I want you to think about is that time on target. So don't strike and pull your strike off right away. We're going to strike and leave it on for 3/4 of a second. We go back to our yellow belt footwork. We had one technique where we were sidestepping or stepping to the side. So if I'm going to be stepping to the right, I'm slightly going to move my foot, my rear foot, my right foot to the right and strike this way. Do not bring your hand back and chop this way. You're telegraphing your movement. So from here, I step and I strike straight through. If I want to go to the other side, I move the front foot and strike straight through. So we shift and strike. Recover to your center position, shift and strike. Shift and strike. Essentially, I'm shifting to the side so that I have a better angle of attack on the opponent. If I strike from here, I'm essentially potentially going to strike onto the trachea right, or into the windpipe, which I want to avoid doing. So I shift to the side and strike this way. So forearm strikes to the brachial. 3/4 turn punch. This time we're talking about punching with the hand straight up and down this way. Traditionally we would punch by turning the hand. This time we're going to punch straight through this way, essentially keeping our bones aligned within the arm. Now, one of the things I want you to think about, our target is going to be to the solar plexus. So I'm punching this way. And the other thing that I want you to think about is punching with the first 2 knuckles. And how we're going to remember that is thinking that we have a cup of water on our fist. And as I punch, I'm trying to throw that cup of water forward. So it could be from the front hand, or from the rear hand, or it could be a combination of both. We talked about in some of our other strikes, time on target, so it's not punch and pull it off, but drive it in and then drive it in. Leave it on there for 3/4 of a second. So once again, punching straight up and down, turning or pushing forward with those 2 first knuckles, like we're throwing a cup of water, and striking into the solar plexus. So our 3/4 turn punch. V-hand blow, or tiger mouth. There's a couple of tiger claw, a few different terms for this strike. So moving back to our defensive stance this way here. Again, commonality of technique. We've talked about a jab and an open hand strike. This time our hand is going to come out and forming a V this way. What I want you to think about is not having your hand this way where the fingers are leading, but making sure that the hand is turned so that my arm is coming up through the middle of my hand or into the web of the hand this way. So this could be striking and grabbing, or it could be a jab to the throat area. Now, I want you to think about this long and hard before you do this to somebody. This could be a deadly technique, especially if we damage the windpipe, cause swelling, which is going to then impede the person's ability to breathe, which could be a very dangerous or very fatal situation. So I would advocate doing this technique essentially if your life was on the line. So once again, from here, we turn and strike, or with the rear hand, turning the hip and the shoulder, making sure that we pivot on that rear foot. How you can practice this at home is having your partner or whoever is helping you essentially make a fist, put their hand behind this way, and we're using the person's forearm as our target, what we're going to be striking to. So if I was holding my arm out this way, and then my partner is striking to the arm this way, basically replicating the throat area. So a V hand blow. Bottom fist. So this time we are delivering a downward strike using the bottom of the fist, or hammer fist. Again, a few different terms for this strike. So from our defensive stance, my elbow, my hand is going to come up. If you remember our knife hand strike, we're going to bring our hand up this way and drive through. Here. Elbow, down. Elbow up, down. One way to add extra drive, extra power into this is by sinking the knees into your strike. Here. Bottom fist.